But I mean, we know that Michael plays catcher, so if Michael can get some more darkness energy on the Darkrai and catcher the Squirtle, he'll be able to Night Spirit for the knockout. But he also getting Garbodor into play would be very big as well. Just very, very interesting best of one. Or one prize sudden death, excuse me. So we see the Juniper, we see a catcher. Discard. Does he get the dark? Oh, he does. So there it is. If he gets a catcher, if that catcher is heads, we see the game end as well. So this is very exciting. Here it is. There it is. Game. Michael Pramawat will defeats Ross Cawthon and will advance to the finals against Santiago Rodriguez. So our finals officially is Darkrai Garbodor versus Rayquaza Emboar. So what a good what a good series, and we see a nice handshake, and that was pretty incredible. Both players could have drawn just like nothing off that end, and both got pretty good starts. So very interesting, and I'm not sure if I'll be back for the finals, but we will definitely be streaming it since I believe both Michael and Santiago are willing to go on stream. So I am Britt here with On the Bubble and Top Cut Central, and I'm signing out. We will be back shortly to give you the finals of Virginia Regionals. So I will talk to you soon. All right, guys. I am back. I know my mic was off there. I was making sure I got the spellings right on their names, and I think I did. But I am back. I am Britt here with On the Bubble and Top Cut Central here to bring you the finals of the Masters here in Doswell, Virginia, the a Winter Regional Championship. On the right, we have Michael Pramawat, who is part of another group similar to us, the Top Cut. He is playing a Darkrai Garbodor deck, and he was actually the first seed going into top eight, and Santiago was the second. So both these guys had really good days in the Swiss and just continued to do well. And on the right, from I believe Michael is from Maryland or Virginia, I believe. And Santiago Rodriguez on the left, playing Rayquaza Emboar, is from Florida. So we'll have a very interesting finals here. It's a good matchup, pretty similar to the one we just saw between Ross Cawthon's Blastoise deck. Rayquaza Emboar is similar, but not quite the same. So we'll see what happens. Looks like Pramawat won the flip, and we have a Sableye active to Santiago's. Gosh, I really can't tell what Santiago's active is, but on the bench we see a Tepig and a Rayquaza. Yeah, all right. So, Pramawat's playing an Ultra Ball, discarding a Hypnotoxic Laser and a Dark Patch, so that may indicate that he has a Juniper or something. I'm not too sure. Usually those aren't cards you really want to discard unless you're playing them. So he might have a Juniper, but he might not. Let's just see. So definitely the priority here, like the last game, is to get Garbodor and with a tool on it to make sure that Santiago's Emboar can't use Inferno Fandango, but to do that, of course, you need to get a Trubbish first and evolve it. So the Ultra Ball from out of Michael right now probably looks like we're going to be getting a Trubbish. But we'll see. Michael's taking a long first search, making sure he knows everything that's in his deck. And yep, there's the Trubbish. So there's a Trubbish. Let's see what else is going to happen. The Tool. We see a Dark Claw go down to, on the Trubbish. And the end. So we'll just see. It's not a bad thing for Santiago, since he had to play 3 Pokemon, so we only had a 4 card hand. So even if he had supporters, his hand is going to be bigger, and so potentially he'll have more options. But this matchup, just like the last one, is going to depend on how well that how well Santiago is able to capitalize on turns when he has abilities, and how well he's able to use his tool scrappers. So I don't know how many he's playing. I would guess two, but I do know that um, Santiago is playing Dowsing Machine, whereas we saw Ross use Computer Search. So that'll be big. That'll give Santiago the ability to play Tool Scrapper like 2 or 3 times instead of just the 1 or 2. But I don't know how many he plays, and so we see a Sableye, another Sableye out of Michael and a pass. He couldn't attack anyways, but definitely a Darkness on any of his Pokemon probably would have been good. But we see a Voltorb come down, so we know Santiago is playing Electrode. An Energy on his active, which it must be. Oh, it's a Reshiram. I can kind of sort of tell now. It's a full art Reshiram from Black and White. So that we see an Energy on it. Playing an Ultra Ball right now, so he's got 2 Tepig already. So this Ultra Ball is probably want to go to a Rayquaza EX. We'll see. So also, just like Ross, Santiago is looking to get Tepics in play, and also the Tropical Beach to get lots of fill his hand every turn and try to get the combo he needs to use. Blue Flare, or Shred, or Dragon Burst, with a combination of some Lightning Energies and some Inferno Fandango. So I actually talked to Santiago a little before the match started, and he is worried about missing his flight, so he warned me in advance that he's going to have to play as fast as possible because he doesn't want to miss his flight. So hopefully we don't see any rushing into any misplays or anything. but it's looking like a pretty good start. One of the bad things I would say about, not bad, but one of the unfortunate sides of Electrode is that it's just another bench setter. And we know that Michael plays Absol, so Santiago has filled his bench already, so Absol is going to end up doing loads of damage if Michael ever chooses to get it out and power it up with a few energies. But it looks like Santiago played a Juniper and missed the Trouble Beach, but still definitely a good start from him. And we see another Ultra Ball out of Michael. Does this mean, is this another turn 2 Garbotoxin? Surely if both Garbodors are in his deck, one of them will be going towards, or one of them will be searched out of his deck right now with this Ultra Ball. Yep, looks like he's eyeing it. There it is. A Garbodor, so that's very good. Very, very good for Michael. A turn 2 going first and a turn 2 Garbotoxin means that Santiago had 0 turns to use abilities. He doesn't play Keldeo like Ross, but so I mean, on Ross's first turn he would have been able to use Keldeo, but now nothing. So we've got an Electrode that won't do anything, and potentially Tepigs that can evolve that just won't do anything until we see Tool Scrappers come out of Santiago. And I also do not think that Santiago plays catcher. We saw Ross, I think, just played one, and we never saw it, but we saw it in his deck. But I don't think Santiago plays any, so that'll definitely make the matchup interesting. We see a Verbank and a Laser. Damaging the Reshiram is always a bit scary because of that outrage attack, but I don't think Sableye really cares. I think Sableye usually just expects to get one shot by anything, so we're going to see some poison damage start to add up and another Junk Hunt, but no Darkrai yet. There it is. Dark Patch and Ultra Ball off a Junk Hunt. The Reshiram takes 30 in between turns. And we go back to Santiago. Um, let's see. I think Santiago only plays one of the non-EX Rayquaza, but I could be wrong, so that definitely could be a factor, especially um, using those for prizes. Using the Reshiram and the Rayquaza on Sableye is good, and it looks like Santiago doesn't really have anything, and he's just gonna Outrage for 50 and take more damage from poison, and we go back to Michael's turn. So we see another Ultra Ball that I believe the one it was he junk hunted for. We see a Tool Scrapper and a Darkness Energy go into the discard, and uh, surely, yep, I was gonna say probably a Darkrai, but maybe even the Absol here. And Michael sees that Santiago has decided to fill his bench, and he's just ready. He's gonna say, "I'm gonna do 120, if not more, to you with my Absol, so just be ready." And there it is. There's a Dark Patch to it. Let's see what else he has. Second Energy, so fully powered. I doubt it comes into attack until an EX comes into play, but there's a Bike. Draws 2. So I noted on it a bit last game, but for those who joined us, Michael's deck is pretty interesting. There seems to be a debate as far as the supporter count is concerned in these Darkrai Garbodor decks. And some people, like we see in something like Dustin Zimmerman's deck from Worlds, played Skyla in their Darkrai Garbodor, but Michael's build and some other people's build just don't play Skyla at all. They just fully rely on random receiver. And oh, I take that back actually. Absol is coming in for the kill this turn. We're going to see a Mind Jack on the Reshiram for a knockout. And then, so that'll put um, Michael up at 5 prizes and Santiago still at 6. And so that's good. Um, the Reshiram could do 120, which would knock out the Absol, but the non-EX Rayquaza only does 90 with Shred, so it's definitely not really an option here. However, something that would be interesting would be that Santiago is actually playing the 60 HP Tepig from Boundaries Cross, and it has an attack for 1 energy that does 10. So potentially something that could happen would be he does 10 with the Tepig and then shreds, but he still needs to get his abilities online. He still needs to evolve into Emboar and then rely on Tool Scrappers. And oh, We see a dowsing machine here. So we saw Santiago basically pass his last turn, so this might have been a top deck, but he's looking. he he started to search his deck or grab his deck for some reason, but he's gonna Ultra Ball, dowsing machine for Ultra Ball, discarding Juniper, and so I'm not really sure what's going on here actually. But let's see what happens in a switch. That could be big. I know Santiago plays one switch and I think one escape rope, so against Michael's own escape rope and Pokemon catchers, you got to be careful with those switching cards. And he Ultra Balls for the Electrode, so looks like he might have a Tool Scrapper, and he might want to use Electrode's Magnetic Draw to start filling his hand, but I'm not too sure. Things are looking pretty good for Michael. We're early in the game still, but let's see what Santiago has. Odd that he discards the Juniper. Believe he just passed his last turn, but so he might have two? I'm not sure. Yep. So there's another Juniper discarding a superior energy retrieval and an So if you're just joining us, this is the finals of Virginia Regionals, the Masters Finals. Yeah, the younger divisions finished yesterday even. So we have Santiago Rodriguez versus Michael Pramawat. Michael Pramawat is playing Darkrai Garbodor, and Santiago is playing Rayquaza Emboar. Hmm. So you see an Ultra Ball discarding N and Tepig, and to grab an Emboar. So it looks like after that Juniper, Santiago was able to draw the rare candy that he needed to evolve, but I still don't know if he has the Tool Scrapper. Like I said, I think he plays two. I know he definitely plays one, and we saw him use the dowsing machine already. So now his options, the number of times he can Tool Scrapper is completely limited to the number he plays. So that'll definitely come into effect. And does he have an attack? Does he have a way to deal with his Absol? Otherwise, it's just going to take another prize, and Michael's going to take the lead. We saw in the games with Ross that Michael usually fell behind and had to pull a win, uh, pull a comeback win. But if he's in the lead, that things might just be even worse. So let's see what ends up happening here. It looks like we just have a pass. He missed the tropical beach, and he has a wasn't able to Tool Scrapper, so Electro didn't end up doing anything. We just go back to Absol. Still no Darkrai's in play, but Absol's definitely going to take another prize. And here's a random receiver for a Juniper. So, I mean, things are going really well for Michael. He's got Garbotoxin, he's attacking and taking prizes, and hasn't even given up a prize yet, but the only thing he's really looking for at this point is probably another Darkrai, or not another Darkrai, a Darkrai, there it is, and the means to attack with it. So there's an energy, and we saw him get a Juniper, and I see another energy in his hand, so that'll be good. That'll give him the ability to use Dark Patch to attach to that Darkrai and get it set up to try to take some setup knockouts with Night Spheres. One of the things that I think that makes Rayquaza Emboar's matchup a little worse than um, Rayquaza Emboar's matchup to Darkrai Garbodor when compared to Blastoise. I think it's a little worse for Rayquaza because you only have Rayquaza as your big attacker, and it has 170 HP, unlike Black Kyurem, which has 180, and that just means like the Night Spear and Dark Claws and Hypnotoxic Lasers, the math just works out so well for things with 170, but 180 is always a little awkward. But we see Michael decide not to play the Juniper, and then we see a Skyla, and or well, the Absol knocked out the Tepig, and we see a Skyla out of Santiago. So, yep, that's what I thought. Here comes the Tool Scrapper. So, Santiago has free reign. He's on his abilities. He's going to be able to use Inferno Fandango, hoping to knock out Absol, and definitely Magnetic Draw. He has a low hand, so he's probably hoping to do some work with Electrode here. So we see it use Magnetic Draw to draw two. Let's see what else he has. I believe he has quite a few energy in his discard, so a superior energy retrieval would be great. I also know that Santiago plays execute, so if he has it or the ways to get in the discard, he could definitely abuse that propagation ability right now. If Santiago is unable to do anything, unable to knock out Absol this turn, I really don't know if he has a shot in winning this game. But we'll just see. Stranger things have happened, as I like to say. So I, let's see what he has. He played a supporter. He used Skyla this turn, so he won't be able to Juniper. So if he's missing the superior energy retrieval or the energies, he'll only need to discard 2 fire with Dragon Burst to knock out the Absol. But if he doesn't have those, Absol's going to get an attack again. And it looks like, yep, he didn't have him. So we're just going to see a Dragon Burst for 60. But nope, he retreats. That's definitely the right play. So retreats to his Nani-X, the Shred, Rayquaza, Tails. There's the first catcher out of Michael, and it doesn't hit. And so Santiago played a catcher, or excuse me, a Tool Scrapper last turn. So Michael currently Garbotoxin is not working, but he's gonna, let's see. I thought he may retreat and not discard any energy and go to Sableye and start junk hunting again. Yep, and that looks like, so Dark Cloak works, so he doesn't have to discard any energy since Absol has darkness on it. That's exactly what we see. And oh, so Michael discards Tool Scrapper, or excuse me, I'm just messing up all over here. Dowsing Machine with the Juniper, and we're gonna see another catcher, and it misses as well. So apparently Michael can actually miss with that card. From what I've heard, he's been running pretty well with it this tournament, but we're gonna see another Junk Hunt from Sableye, and we have a laser onto the Rayquaza, and man, things just don't look good for Santiago this game. We'll, I'm not sure really what he has. I think he has one Tool Scrapper left, but still, even if he does, he hasn't taken a single prize yet. And so say he plays the Tool Scrapper and gets abilities again. He's only got one turn to probably only has one, maybe 2 turns if he has an N behind it or something to use his abilities again. And in that time, I really don't know if he'll be able to use Inferno Fandango to get the energy he needs on the board. But let's see. We see a Junk Hunt, and oh, looks like Santiago's just scooping. So, as I said, I believe Santiago's a little rushed for time, and he can tell that, oh, no, I wasn't going to win this game anyways. So, let's hurry up and go on to game 2. So, we'll see them shuffle up, and all right, yeah, yeah. All right, I'm back, guys. I'm a little loud and was told to quiet down a little bit, so, but my mic's back, and we're shuffling up for game 2, so that game just nothing seemed to go Santiago's way. He couldn't draw well, and just Michael just took a early lead and just never looked back. And Santiago picked up his cards. But so what you're probably thinking for Santiago is just like, what can I do differently this game? And I think definitely the first thing we'll see is maybe not benching so many Pokemon. Like I don't know if you really want to even deal with Electro this matchup. It just kind of fuels Absol. So, um, but then another thing to know is I'm not sure how many Tool Scrappers still that Santiago plays. Just one. All right, as well. Someone just told me that it is in fact just one, but I'm not too sure yet. So Santiago will choose to go first, I'm sure, and we'll see the rest of this final match play out. See a basic out of Santiago and also a basic out of Michael, so no mulligans to happen this game. And Let's see what their openers are. We see a Sableye out of Michael once again, his preferred starter, and Rayquaza EX out of Santiago. So again, just like with the Blastoise player, the Raybor player is also looking for that combo, that puzzle, the promised land of Tepig, Energy, Attach, Tropical Beach on the first turn. So we see a Skyla. If he doesn't have the the means to the Tepig, I'm sure he gets that. But if he already has the Ultra Ball or the Level Ball in his hand, he probably gets Tropical Beach here. So we'll see what he has. Yep, there it is. So he doesn't have the Tepig. So we're going to see a Skyla for a Level Ball. There it is. There's the Tepig. Looks like a pretty solid opening for Santiago. If he has the Tropical Beach, it'll really be even better. But it looks like he just says pass and again worried about time and just tells Michael to take his turn even while he's shuffling. So Michael draws for his turn, and again, Michael hasn't really missed it. Nope, there's another Ultra Ball. Michael's going to be able to get a Trubbish on the board first turn once again. And also a Darkness in the discard, so if he's able to put another Sableye or Absol or Darkrai on the bench, all of his Dark Patches are going to be live. And I see the Trubbish. He's already looking at it. So no Trubbish. Both Trubbishes or what have you are not prized this game. So this Ultra Ball is definitely going to be getting the Trubbish. And I know I saw N in Michael's hand. So we know he has a supporter, but I'm not sure if he has anything else he wants to do. He's thinking, counting his deck, trying to see what's prized and what is not, but definitely going to see the Trubbish here. I'm not really sure what he's thinking about here. I see Michael shaking his head. Can't see it on the camera, but he's worried about something. Something must be prized. So I'm not sure. Maybe some his Darkrai's or his Garbodors or something is missing. Ooh, and he was eyeing the Trubbish, but he gets a Darkrai instead. So I wonder if that means that both of his Garbodors are prized because we saw him. I saw the Trubbish at the bottom of his deck, but wow, that could be bad. That could make things very interesting. I don't. The matchup is definitely not over, but if both of his Garbodors are prized, Michael's gonna have to do a lot of work. He's definitely good. He's gonna have to take two prizes and hope to draw one of them out of them. And if he doesn't, this game is surely over. So this definitely makes things interesting. So we see an N, and we'll just continue from there. Michael is going second, so he will be able to attack. And the judges seem to be looking at something in Michael's sleeves right now. I have no idea what that means, but yeah, you see it there. The bottom two prize cards got picked up for some reason, and so they might have like an accidental mark or something on them. So something is maybe they were flipped over or something. One of the head judges pulled them aside and is looking at them. There they're back. So I'm not sure what that was about, but we'll continue back to Michael's turn, and I'm sure he is going to junk hunt here. And we see the Trubbish. So even though the Garbodors aren't prized, even though the Garbodors are prized, you definitely want to get a Trubbish on the bench. So as soon as you take a prize, you can evolve immediately. So, and well, there the prizes go again. So really don't know what that's up with. Something about them must be wrong. I'll try to. If someone tells me, I will inform you what's going on with the prize cards. But nothing too severe since the judges haven't stopped play. But we see a catcher bring up the Tepig. And just a junk hunt out of Michael, I think. So, catcher, he's eyeing a catcher. The prize cards are back, so. What is he going to junk hunt for? Catcher and Ultra Ball. There we go. Back to Santiago. And we see an escape rope. out of Santiago. So that'll reset the gust of wind effect that Michael's able to do with his catcher. And he's trying to decide what to promote. And it looks like he promotes Trubbish. Maybe he has the float stone and is a bit afraid of what a Dragon Burst might mean on his Darkrai. So I see a rare candy in Santiago's hand. Does he have the Emboar or a way to get it? Nope, doesn't look like he had anything else. So we're just going to see another Ent reset both of their hands. And again, oh, we saw the Tropical Beach come down. So that's good for Santiago, but still, he definitely wants to find energy, candy, Emboar, or maybe like an Ultra Ball and a Pignite if he plays Pignite, and just all these little things. Definitely, if you're Santiago right now and Pramawat's Garbodors are actually both prized, I think you're feeling pretty good. But you're still going to need to evolve into Emboar to win the game, and so that's what he's looking to do. And looks like he gets an energy, but not much else. So we're definitely going to see a Tropical Beach out of Santiago. So there is the fire. And let's see it. Does he beach? Does he have anything else? Yep, beach for 2. Back to Michael. Draws a Darkrai. And I'm sure he will spend this turn junk hunting again. But to do that, he'll need to attach a Darkness to the Trubbish and use Darkrai's Dark Cloak to retreat, or just get the Float Stone and use it to free retreat. But we see another Ultra Ball and gets a Sableye. Benches the other Darkrai and plays a Bicycle to draw 3 or 2. I think he had a laser in his hand as well. There's the laser. Heads. So the Rayquaza is asleep. And another N. Santiago takes a look at Michael's discard, and they'll both shuffle up, and both their hands will reset, and they'll both have 6 cards once again. So, I mean, Michael really needs some dark patches here. I think it's a little unsafe to Night Spear. Um, but we'll probably see the junk hunt, and again, Santiago is just really needing to get that Emboar out. It's usually getting it turn 2 is that's what you want to see, but I would say it's a little uncommon. But by turn 3, you should probably have your stage 2 out. And so I would be surprised if he doesn't get it. And we see the Float Stone and the Verbank City. So that's very good for Michael. And yep, we retreat the Trubbish and go right back to Sableye for a junk hunt. And what is he thinking about getting? He missed an energy and a dark patch. So still only just 1 energy on his board. So even so, um, if the Sableye gets knocked out, he's probably just gonna have to promote the Sableye and junk hunt again because he doesn't. If he had like maybe 4 energy and the Darkrai on the board, 4 energy on his Darkrai on the board, excuse me, he could maybe start Night Spearing just because he has the insurance of 2 of them. But he really just only 1 energy on the board is just not enough to do anything but junk hunt. But we see the junk hunt, and then we go back to Santiago, who I believe stayed asleep on the laser. He decides to attach a fire for his turn onto the Shred Rayquaza, and looks like I see another N in his hand, and yep, there we go. Lots and lots of N's this game, and I feel like they both play 2, maybe even 3, so that's always something to consider. Both play Dowsing Machine, so they'll maybe have the opportunity to play a 5th N, but using all your N's early is always a little scary because you know that when you get into the late game and you might need a comeback, you just won't be able to use them. So, but we see another N, and let's see what Santiago draws. I don't think he plays Pignite, but does he really wants to evolve? He really needs to rare candy, and I see the Emboars. I think he drew into two Emboar, but he still did not draw into the rare candy. So that's all he has. Didn't draw Tropical Beach, so he's just going to take more laser damage in between turns and pass. Now it's back to Michael. So interestingly enough, if Michael can Night Spear this turn, the Rayquaza is knocked out. And he'll be able to take two prizes, which hopefully gives him access to one of the I think two Garbodor that are in the prize cards. There's a Dark Patch. So now Michael is missing an Energy and another Dark Patch, or potentially the Dowsing Machine can serve for either card. And there's the attach for turn, and he played another Laser just to try to put the Rayquaza asleep, which means to me that he either has the Juniper or does not have a supporter. No, there's a bike, and he puts a Float Stone down on Sableye, plays a Bicycle for two. I'm not sure what he draws. Hmm. So an Ultra Ball here, discarding Catcher and Dark, getting Absol. So maybe he had the Juniper in his hand all along and is trying to thin his deck for the Night Spear this turn. That would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, but here's an Ultra Ball, decides not to play the Catcher, plays an Ultra Ball to get Absol. And do I see a Juniper? I believe I do. So there's a Juniper. So if he draws into Dowsing Machine or another Dark Patch, we will see a Night Spear this turn out of Pramawat. And I believe he drew it. But let's see what happens. Yep, there it is. So we're going to see a Night Spear out of Michael this turn. And he'll be able to retreat to Sableye. Or retreat the Sableye into Darkrai. And after poison damage, the Rayquaza will be knocked out. And all Santiago will be left with is the a bunch of non-EXs. None of his attackers that are really that good against Darkrai and a Tepig, and he only plays the 60 HP Tepig, so let's see where he puts it. Yep, and so that's really threatening. If Santiago doesn't evolve this turn, then that Tepig gets knocked out from the residual damage from Night Spear. There's no Mr. Mime. It only has 60 HP, so if it doesn't evolve, it's going to be knocked out, and uh, things just. I mean, even Michael doesn't even have Garbodor out, and things just aren't really looking good for Santiago. Let's see what he draws. He has to promote first. If I were him, I honestly would consider promoting the Tepig, because you know it's going to get knocked out if you don't evolve it anyways. But it only has one retreat, and no, there's a rare candy. Rare candy Emboar, so that is very good. I think he must have top decked that rare candy, because I saw the Emboars in his hand last turn, but he didn't evolve. But looks like he has a bunch of supporters in his hand as well. Let's see what he does with them. Hmm. I'm not too sure what you would do. I don't think there are many energy in his discard. I guess there are two from the Rayquaza. EX that was knocked out, and there's a Juniper, discarding two Skyline and Emboar, and he attaches a Lightning for turn. So I guess he's going to try to Blue Flare here. It does 120 damage and definitely threatens the Darkrai, but you still have to attack it again to knock it out. So, I mean, if you Blue Flare here, you're probably going to want to use Shred to knock out that Darkrai, but I'm not sure if he'll be given that opportunity. And let's see, what did Santiago draw off the Junior? I see two fire energies, so he's definitely going to be able to blue flare here. Is that the right option, though? What else did he draw? Thinking about those two fire energy. Yep, there they go. So we're going to see a blue flare out of Reshiram. We see a Super Rod, an Electrode, and a Lightning and a Switch out of Santiago. Not a good hand. Here's the big question. It's back into Michael's turn. Did he take Garbodor out of his prizes? Decides to play a random receiver first. There's a Juniper. Plays another Ultra Ball, discarding two Darkness Energies. And I don't know what he gets here. He's probably just playing it to remind himself of what's in his prize cards, and oh, there's a third Sableye. Uh, in the game with Ross, I wasn't sure how many he played, but now we know that it's definitely three. But he's grabbing it with the Ultra Ball, and he's going to play the Juniper, and he's just thinning his deck because he didn't want to draw back into the Sableye. It's not a card he needs right now. There's another laser. So interestingly, the Reshiram has 130, so Night Spear does not knock it out. Even after the laser damage, you only do 120. So he needs to draw the Dark Claw, or maybe he's just going to retreat to Sableye this turn. We see another Dark Patch onto Darkrai with a Dark Claw. Is that another one? No. Oh, it was? But he decides to put it on the Absol instead. So, you know, maybe what you do here is you retreat that active Darkrai. You know Santiago doesn't play catcher, and so you just do 120, or you just do it did 120 to Darkrai, and you know he doesn't play catcher, so he won't be able to knock out that Darkrai. So, okay, all right. So, I'm sorry, I'm a bit loud, so I was told to be quiet again. So, I apologize. We're gonna be whispering, but so I'm thinking, well, is that enough damage with the Absol to knock out the Reshiram? Let's see, he's doing 40, 70. I think he is. Yeah, it's just perfect damage after the laser. So, and it looks like Michael still didn't draw the Garbodor, so if in fact two of them are prized, he's going to take one prize here, so there is, now he has a 25% chance to take a Garbodor out of prizes. See another energy search to thin his deck, and Mind Jack for the knockout. Did he take Garbodor? Couldn't tell. We'll just have to see on his next turn. And things just, even without Garbodor, things just still aren't looking very good. He'll be able to knock out the Absol this turn, but alright, will he even be able to? He just doesn't seem to have a thing. And we see an Electrode and a Super Rod and a Superior Energy Retrieval in his hand, so uh, that's all he's got. See Santiago use Superior Energy Retrieval for those 4 energy, and he'll be able to Dragon Burst, discarding 2 to knock out the Absol, but then he only has those energy in his hand, and the card he takes out of the prizes, so, man, it was not looking very good. But here we go. Did Michael take a Garbodor? And yes, he did. So finally, Garbotoxin is online. And let's see, what did Santiago draw from his prizes? I can't tell, but uh, Night Spear is going to be really dangerous right here. I know in normal circumstances, I think you would probably want to junk hunt, but since Michael knows that Santiago played his hand down to 0 with the Superior, and then only took 1 prize, I think Michael might risk it and just say, you have 2 cards. You have the card you took on prizes and the cards you take off the top with your draw to like get get a tool scrapper and all these other things. So I'm like, maybe you're safe to Night Spear here. Ooh, and that makes it even worse for Santiago. We see Michael play an escape rope, I believe, and then yeah, so he did play an escape rope. Santiago promotes his non-EX Rayquaza, and Michael will probably promote the Darkrai or the Garbodor. And there it is. There's the Darkrai with 3 energy. So he did decide to Night Spear this turn. So the Rayquaza has 120. So Night Spear without a laser will not knock it out, and he'll do 90 and then 30 to the bench. So what did Santiago draw anything? It looks like I think he drew a Tepig and then just has a bunch of energy in his hand. So he can Dragon Pulse for 40, but I mean that still doesn't really do anything. We'll just have to see. There's an attach and a pass. So wow. I think Michael might have locked this game up. And there we see Santiago's hand. We see 3 or 4 energy and Tepig. So I just don't know. Even if Santiago draws like the N or the Juniper on the next turn. I don't know if it's enough. I think Michael might just have the game locked down. So, um, back to Michael though. He plays a bicycle to draw cards and attaches a third energy to the Darkrai with the Dark Claw. And here's a catcher. That's going to be big. And it's a Tails. So, didn't end up doing anything. But had he hit it, I think he might have had the means to take three prizes on the Rayquaza EX and the non-EX Rayquaza. But even still, I think Michael is very content, just a Night Spear once again. And oh, he even decides to retreat and Junk Hunt this turn, so maybe that's all he wants to do. Maybe he's decided, I'm just going to attack one more time. I'm going to Junk Hunt right here for the catcher and maybe the laser, and then next turn, I'm going to catcher up your Rayquaza EX, use Hypnotoxic Laser, and then knock you out and take three prizes all at once. Let's see what he Junk Hunts for. Catcher Laser, there it is. Oh, and the active was poison, so not even that. And ooh, that's it. Santiago top decks catcher, and Michael Pramawat is your 2014 Virginia Regional Champion.